Welcome to FilmFloggers. Grab a flog and join us as we go to work on our latest film offering and try to answer the question, does this film feel like flogging a dead horse? The answer is probably yes, but let's find out. Nice. Yes.
Right, yeah.
Very good. Very good. Nicely done.
It's just horrendous, isn't it? Like how fucking edgy you get about this.
What was the last one we did? Jingle All the Way.
Yeah. When was that?
What, 3 weeks ago?
2-3 weeks ago, yeah. Has there been any, what have the stats been looking like?
Same stuff.
Same stuff.
Not very good.
What Jingle All the Way hasn't taken off?
No, not really. Hi, Tom.
Hello. Hello, Ben.
Well, what do you think?
Well, we got some Judge Dredd. We're coming back. This is our first podcast of the new year, isn't it? 2021.
It is, yeah. Well, Happy New Year, Tom, and Happy New Year, listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope that Judge Dredd isn't an appropriate welcome into the new year. Let's hope Judge Dredd doesn't set the tone for next year. Let's hope it gets better than this.
Yeah, it didn't quite hold up for me, unfortunately, on rewatch. I remember it being a go-to. It just popped into my head the other day, actually. That's why I said to you, let's just do Judge Dredd. It's a no-brainer. Yeah, upon rewatch, I'm not going to start saying it absolutely stinks, because it doesn't.
I don't think I've ever actually watched this in full. I remember seeing, some years, like a decade ago, just catching the bit when the crash landing scene in the desert with the cannibals. I remember seeing that bit, just in isolation and being like, and, seeing Stallone. Well, I don't think he hasn't got the suit of armour on at that stage, has he? But just seeing Stallone, how he's kitted out in this, how he's sort of like made to look in this, and just thinking like, this is junk, clearly. The only Judge Dredd I know, really, is the Carl Urban. The more recent remake, which I remember seeing in the cinema, and I like that. I thought that was quite good. As far as a film like this can go, I think that's basically what you're aiming for, isn't it? Just an absolute, carnage fest.
It was sort of represented what Judge Dredd should be, or what it is in the comics. It's based on comics. I've not ever looked at the comics. I've got no idea what's going on in them, no concept of them. But
we talk quite a lot about films based on comics, but I don't think either of us are that. I just think comics I just don't get it, to be honest.
No, well, yeah. I guess I can see their value, I suppose. I guess it's interesting if you're into a genre or if you're into a character or a film or whatever. For example, Spawn. Spawn is a big comic thing, and they had that TV series that we mentioned, and the comics have got decent fan base. So if we looked into the comics and the TV series, maybe we would have been, if possible, even more offended by Spawn, the film, because it was an abomination. But I guess Judge Dredd maybe is follows sort of a similar vein with the comics. They're quite a big deal, and there's certain things there's a lot of things that are obviously changed within the film.
Well, just so I understand the premise of this whole thing, the whole universe of this, is what we're in the year 3000. Is that right?
I'm not quite sure it's Battlefield Earth, year 3000. I think it's like 2190 or something like that, yeah.
Oh, really?
No, it's not quite busted year 3000, though. We're not quite there yet. We're getting there.
So the prediction of whoever's created this is that in 100 years' time, there's going to be... So what's happened? The solar system's basically exploded. Everything's dried up. The world has just has just fallen flat on its face, basically. What's the premise of this universe here?
Yeah, I don't really know. The only thing I took away from the opening is James Earl Jones is the narrator. All right.
Yeah.
Why?
Just giving information that just doesn't seem to quite hold up.
What's Darth Vader doing there? What's he doing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So yeah, I don't really understand the sort of the whole setup of this. Everything's basically turned into a desert. I think climate change has really, hit rock bottom. We're seriously climate changing. We've now got basically the remainder of the human race has been pushed into the remaining cities, which are basically like overrun. Just gross, basically. And it's the judges, effectively like the police force, who serve as judge and jury and basically carry out sentences on the streets.
So with that, are we in America? Is this where we are? I know the film was a lot of it was shot in the UK, I believe.
It was, and I think Norway. Was it Norway with some of the sort of what is that? Is that wrong?
Norway?
I could be wrong. Yeah.
Well, talking about Norway and sort of Scandinavia, it brings us to these two sort of lead judges. It's nice to see in Mega City 1 that there's no xenophobia. It's very multicultural, demonstrated with the fact that a German and a Swede leading the charge. It's a bit. I'm not. All right.
Well, speaking of the German, I mean, I can't actually. I don't actually. I think I'll embarrass myself if I try and pronounce that man's name. But I recognise him popping up as the some kind of commander or some military figure, Nazi in The English Patient.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Inflicting some horrendous damage on Willem Dafoe.
Oh, the torture scene, yeah.
Yeah, those awful shackle scenes, yeah, terrible. I mean, perfectly cast, because I mean the guy does look completely spooky. I mean, if you chose one bloke to represent the Nazis, it would be him. You know, he is probably one of the most evil looking blokes, you know, going.
I think he was working quite a lot back in, especially the 90s. As you said, The English Patient, but I can't really name anything else he's been in. But he's around. He's been in a lot. He's popped up.
No, it's you know, it's interesting, and also I would say, I mean, from the narration and the whole setup of it, the whole way the universe is introduced, it feels a lot like a Paul Verhoeven film. I feel like that this could have easily been a Paul Verhoeven project, and would have probably been a lot safer in the hands of Verhoeven, because I think there were times which this needed just that bit of added like unpleasantness that I think would have elevated it and could have turned it into an almost kind of Total Recall-esque type thing.
Well, funny you should mention Verhoeven and Total Recall. I read that apparently Arnie was attached to this at some point, and the Rico character was potentially going to be played by Michael Ironside. So it would have been a Total Recall reunion.
Well, I could see that. I could absolutely see that.
Yeah, to be honest, I think straight off the bat, I wouldn't say that would have actually made the film any better. I think Arnie and yeah, say Ironside, whoever would have played Rico. I don't think Arnie's doing a better job than Sly. I think Stallone is putting in a pretty rancid shift, but I don't think actually Arnie's doing any better, realistically.
Well, no. And also, hang on, I mean, we'd have to also believe that that Michael Ironside was you know, the brother of Arnie. Well, how would that have worked? You know, unfortunately, I think Ironside would have come off very badly in that one. A lot of head scratching.
Yeah, I feel like it would have taken a lot for the director and co to convince us these two are actually clone twins.
Well, don't forget, and this is a spoiler alert, but I don't know if I ever told you that I recently watched The Human Stain with Anthony Hopkins and Wentworth Miller.
Oh, you did, yeah.
I mean, just spoiler alert in case anyone hasn't seen it, but the punchline of that is that you are meant to believe that Wentworth Miller is a young Anthony Hopkins, and that Anthony Hopkins is in fact mixed race.
No.
Just absolutely jaw-dropping. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
It's got me.
But, you know, you've got to watch out with these pairings, haven't you? If you're gonna have a twist and it's going to be that, oh, you know, these two characters are actually related, it can make or break. If you cast it wrong, well, it just doesn't work at all. I think an Ironside Schwarzenegger, you know, brothers, I think would have been a bit of a stretch.
Well, you know, to be fair to Arnie, I suppose he did get his clone stuff in the end with the Sixth Day.
True. Yeah. Yeah, Sixth Day, yeah. Well, I mean, that's a conversation for another day, isn't it? The Sixth Day.
Yeah, well, we've briefly mentioned it on one of the what was it? One of the other podcasts we did, talking about just him floating around in his spaceship for half the film.
Yeah,
awful.
And don't forget, you know, 4 dots means he's been cloned 4 times.
Yeah.
You know, the dots under the eye.
So this Armand Asante, who plays Rico, who's this? Have you got any prior with this bloke?
I don't know, but he does look like a sort of extra. He's got kind of what's the guy who plays he does a lot of extra work in like Tarantino's films. What's he called? Michael Madsen-esque look. I can imagine him in kind of like B-movie mobster films.
He's very wide-eyed.
He is, yeah, and he's sort of like square jaw, you know, face like a square.
Yeah, his eyes are popping out.
A fairly thoroughly unpleasant-looking bloke, but no, I don't recognise him at all. Is he famous? Has he been in anything of note?
No, I've got no idea. Again, you know, with the thorough research I put into these podcasts, he played John Gotti.
Oh, I saw he was in something called like Gotti, yeah.
Yeah, he played him in like a HBO TV film back in the 90s, which I think went down reasonably well. He's okay in this. He's all right. He's fine. He's shouting a lot, and he's you know, as we said, his eyes are popping out of his head. It's about right, I think.
I don't think anyone's really got that much to do in this. I mean, I don't think it's not a particularly compelling villain character, is it? It's very much just kind of like, well...
Well, it's just getting someone to kind of match Sly's look. Where you can sort of put them together and go, oh, yeah, maybe, yeah, it could be brothers, maybe, possibly. And just sort of like shout. And I guess match Sly's, like, you know, shouting abilities. Just look like he's kind of, he's a maniac. He's insane.
Well, he's the well, what is he? He's meant to be the perfect criminal. Is that right? Is that what he's meant to be?
As old Max says later on, yeah, I just don't know what happened, but you came out Sly as the perfect judge, and old Rika came out as the perfect criminal. What happened?
I'm not blown away by any of this, to be honest, but I think it's worth getting into, because I mean I think without old Stallone, in the leading role, I think it would be a bit of a pancake job. But yeah,
yeah. Well, it's got to be, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Pancake job.
Yeah, you don't want that. But yeah, so should we dive in?
Well, mate, let's get in. Let's get into the meat and bones of this.
Yeah. Do you want to kick off?
I didn't remember this at all. I thought we just literally opened straight to the buildings and the shooting. I don't remember seeing Rob Schneider return home from prison. I don't remember this at all. And him going in his taxi and having a look over the city. I assume that's always been there. I just don't remember it because it's not very good. But I always just associate the start of the film with them outside the building, the shooting's happening, the judges are there, the old rookie's there, Diane Lane's there, and then of course, Sly wheels himself in.
Yeah, I think it's always a fatal mistake, certainly from my perspective, to for one of the first scenes with character in it to be Rob Schneider, because I mean, all I associate that guy with is just he's just irritating, isn't he?
What about some Juice Bigelow? What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's just not for me.
No?
No, so are you a fan of the Schneider?
Oh no, he's absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
I mean, there's a bit in South Park where they talk about him. It's like Rob Schneider
I
is
think I've seen that.
a carrot. Rob Schneider's just whatever is there, isn't it? Whatever Adam Sandler can just give him, he's doing it.
He's just kind of the quintessential gimp, isn't he? And as well, this whole bit when he's like you say, he's going home. And it's kind of used as a way to introduce the world. So he's getting sort of flown around the city in this I don't know, like airborne taxi thing. And he's just sitting looking out the window like amazed, gawping at everything he goes by. And he just looks so gormless. There's just something so gormless looking about Rob Schneider. And it's a big turn off for me, I've got to say. Not for me.
No, it's not good. We've got the narration from James L. Jones, which is like, okay.
Talking about, the scorched earth or whatever what's it called? The cursed earth.
Slightly jarring. And then, for me anyway, this opening, I was like, well, what? I don't remember this. I know obviously Rob Schneider's in it, but I don't remember this.
Yeah, just sort of dribbling, just getting blown around the city. It's just not good.
I should say about the actual city itself, how it looks. It looks all right. You get some ropey stuff on the bike later, which obviously just looks horrendous.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about the car, like the chase scene.
The chase, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when he's on the old, what are they called?
Yeah. Well, it's like an arcade machine, isn't it? It looks like an arcade machine.
Yeah, it's just a green screen with them sort of just, knocking about a little bit, side to side. Just tilt to the left. Whoa.
Yeah, just Schneider just wobbling at the back.
Yes. But no, I think it actually looks all right, yeah. 95.
I mean, you look at it and you realise that they must have put a lot of money into this. Because, I mean, obviously, most of it will be green screens, special effects. But, I mean, there's a lot of practical stuff going on. I mean, there's at one stage, there's this, robot that moves and well, he's sort of like the little sort of sidekick to the what's the bad guy called? Oh,
Rico. Oh, you mean Hammerstein, the robot? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, how the hell did they? I mean, that's a full build, isn't it?
Yeah, that's top notch. Yeah. Yeah, I think the director, what's his face, Danny Cannon, insisted on having that as animatronics. I think overall, as we just said, the CGI, they get away with it, most of it.
Yeah, they do.
Well, imagine that. Imagine if they'd have built that CGI wobbly robot all over the place. Oh, it'd just look fucking disgusting. Good for Danny. And by the sounds of it, I don't think Danny actually got much of a look in, because I think he came out and said that Sly was just unbearable. This is the thing with this whole Rob Schneider being there and Sly, and we'll get into it more later, but it turns into, like, there's all these, like, quips from Sly. It turns into, at some stage, like a buddy comedy type, like, oh, you to me. Well, no. Again, I don't know a lot about Judge Dredd, but I think it's quite graphic. It's quite violent. So what's going on? And I think that's how the original screenplay was. It was pretty graphic. It had a bit more of a serious tone. Sly came in and wanted to add some more jokes and turn it into sort of like an action comedy.
So Schneider actually sort of used his influence to try and introduce comedy into it.
Well, no, it was more Stallone doing it. Stallone wanted to rewrite the script to kind of basically add more jokes and make it a bit more lighthearted. And this director was just like, well, no, it's just going to suck because that's not Judge Dredd. Like, oh, yes, well, sorry. And obviously Stallone, he's a big hitter, isn't he? So he's going to have more of a say.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? I remember whenever there was the press around the remake back in, when was it, like 2009 was the Carl Urban one?
I think it's a little bit later.
2010, 12, something like that. I remember there being press around it, and the push was to try and reimagine the Dredd character and put it in the universe that it was supposed to be set in, which was this like brutal, you know, absolutely without any kind of... Effectively, it's like one of these dystopian Mad Max type of things, isn't it? Where like society's basically just totally fallen by the wayside, and it's like, you know, everyone's become like a savage. And yeah, I mean, like, you just don't get very much of that in this, do you? I mean, you just get sort of like you get a lot of Schneider coming out with like wisecracks, and you're just not sure what you're watching.
Well, all you get from Sly is just a barrage of one-liners, repeated several times. It wasn't funny the first time. It's not funny the 15th time, Sly. I just stop it. You know, I wasn't like a humongous fan of the recent Dredd. As you said, it's more in line with what I've read and what I imagine it should be, Judge Dredd. You know, pretty gory, pretty action-packed. After rewatching this, the 95 one, I'd probably appreciate it even more if I rewatched it. I remember liking this one quite a bit, but then rewatch it, I'm like, oh yeah, it doesn't hold up too well at all.
Well, I mean, I remember, because I mean, I think the 2011-12 was a smaller budget, but again, like much like in this, the way they've got, I mean, I think a lot of it's done practically. And like the way they create this tower block that's like endless and just contains like well, it doesn't contain an infinite number of levels, but it houses like almost a whole city. The way that is done is very impressive. So yeah, no, I'd sort of rate the remake. I think it's good. I think they sort of brought it, you know, took it out of the gutter, because I mean, this is kind of like a piss steak, isn't it, almost?
Well, yeah. Anytime they can show some gore, it's cut. There's scenes later on which are just, yeah, you need to see more of. And it gets cut and you can't see it. I'm not sure what this rating was in the end. I think Sly was trying to get it down to like a PG-13. I don't think it's quite there. I don't think it's far off. Yeah, just doesn't work.
No. So I mean, the first time we're kind of introduced to the Dredd character, there's some kind of riot erupting in the city. And I think that's the whole catalyst of events. You know, the city's become fairly unruly. There's more rioting going on. So the judges are trying to hold down this street or whatever. And then you get like the grand entrance of Stallone. Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on this costume? What do you think of the Dredd look?
Well, I was going to mention, I guess I'll just mention now. Yeah, he's got all of it looks a bit ropey.
Mm.
He's got the shin pads on. It's like he's kitted out ready to go, just in case there's like a spontaneous kickabout in the street, because he's got the shin pads on ready to go.
Or he's about to put his roller skates on.
Yeah. He's definitely got some Travolta-esque boots on. Obviously, not to the level, of course, because nothing is to that level. But they're giving him, I imagine, a good 5 inches.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure about the costume, and also just to kind of add insult to injury, he's also sporting he's got a little star on his costume. So most of the other judges have just got like, you know, the shoulder pads, the moon boot, but Dredd's actually got like a little star, which I'm assuming is meant to be like a sheriff's badge, but it just looks like he's insisted on having a star on his costume.
Well, you need to know it's Dredd. If you didn't know by the jawline and by him opening his mouth, you need to have the humongous like plastic Dredd badge on his chest. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think that could be Judge Dredd.
And he's also got this, like, I think whenever he enters the picture, he makes a big announcement to all the people having this street fight, and he pulls this little mouthpiece, kind of whizzes, like comes zooming off his helmet.
Terrible, yeah.
And and like he speaks, and it's like, well, it's almost like half that suit is just a boombox. So like he's effectively just like a walking boombox, because I mean, like, that voice is, well, it's filling the city. So like, I don't know where that sound's coming from.
He's just smug, isn't he? The second, you watch him roll in on his bike and he's like, oh God, here he comes. Yeah, he's just a smug fest. He gets off, he stands there and you're like, oh, hang on, what's he doing? Yeah, he doesn't care about getting shot.
I'm pretty sure it's hands on hips, isn't it? Has he not got his hands on his hip?
Well, if he's not, he may as well be, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, and then he brings out his little fucking plastic bit of crap.
Mouthpiece.
Wherever that juts out from. And and then obviously he starts walking towards him and goes, oh, what are you guys doing? These bullets are this type of ammunition, and they've only got this range of 200 meters, and and you're standing at 205. So don't panic, you're not going to get shot. That's why I can stand here smugly with hand on hips with my little piece coming out of my fucking helmet, just being a smug git. To have the biggest name badge ever on the chest.
Yeah, and just blow everyone's eardrums out with this announcement. Yeah, no, it's terrible. So yeah, I wasn't entirely convinced about the whole grand entrance. It was a bit. I mean, obviously this whole thing's a cheese fest, but even for me, that was a it was a lot to stomach, I thought. So we then have this whole thing where they go into the. I mean, so what's going on here? So Rob Schneider, meanwhile, he's somehow where he lives is inside one of the blocks that's engaging in this firefight. So Schneider's like, what's he doing?
He's just been released from prison, so this is going to be where he's going to be living, isn't it? For the foreseeable, he's been given a job and he's going to try and get his life back on track. So he's just been dumped in this building, which is a shell.
Dredd then enters the building with his two fellow judges, and I think one of them at this stage gets shot, doesn't he? He gets one of the rookies gets blasted.
Oh, the old rookie, yeah, he gets done.
Yeah, opens the door and gets blown out, and then so Dredd's then sort of he's at the door, and he's like, what's he coming out? I can't even remember how he announced his presence. It's like, put your weapons down or prepare to be judged. Or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of judge. There's a lot of like court adjourned. There's a lot of I knew you'd say that. It's just repeating the same stuff.
Yeah, and he goes in and the criminals refuse to give up the weapons. So then you just get this bit where he's basically cycling through all the options on his little gun. He's got this gun that you can talk to, and it like changes its fire rate and what bullets it's shooting out. So you just get this bit where it's he's exchanging fire with these guys in this room. And he's just going like rapid fire, double whammy,
yeah.
And just sort of just blowing all these people out. It's
armor piercing.
Yeah, it's
Oh mate, it's cool.
I mean,
do you not find that cool?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not quite getting it. I mean, again, it's the whole thing about there's just no impact, is there? You've got this piece of weaponry that's meant to be doing all this stuff, and like whenever people are getting shot, they're just falling over. It just doesn't kind of land. It doesn't land, does it?
I think maybe take away the grand entrance of Sly. Maybe if you just skip straight to the shooting, you may be like, oh yeah, he's got a cool gun. That's he's got nifty. He's got all these different types of shooting ability. But you've had this grand entrance already, so you're kind of like, oh dear. So straight away, you're either going to be like, oh whoa, he's looking pretty mean and menacing, or you're like, oh man, what's he wearing? What's he coming out with? This is not doing anything for me. He just looks like an idiot.
But also his he's cycling through all these options on his gun, but like he's got the rapid fire, and then he goes into armor piercing. You're like, well, here we go. What's going to happen here? But like the armor piercing looks even more wank than the rapid fire, so it just doesn't have any punch at all. It's just like, right, well, he's just cycling through this junk basically.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not happening for me. I just wasn't enjoying it very much.
Did you not recognise old James Remmer? The guy who played Raiden.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right, yeah. Well, he's kind of like heading up the baddies, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
But he's not in it for long. I mean, he gets plugged pretty soon.
No, yeah. No, he's, I guess always nice to see James, I suppose. Just remind me of some Annihilation.
But yeah, so what happens then? I think you find Schneider hiding in this dummy, on this dummy. In this like robot arrangement.
It's like a food dispenser, isn't it? What is it?
I don't know. It's just like a food recycling unit that moves.
Yeah, he gets 5 years for that. Apparently, it's pretty harsh.
And so I mean, this is kind of, I guess, when this whole one of the rookie judges is obviously he's quite into Dredd, I think, and he gives old Schneider 5 years for being Schneider. And this girl's like, haven't you ever heard of extenuating circumstances? And he goes like, I've heard it all. Ugh. I mean, again, I know you said that you sometimes struggled with to understand Schwarzenegger, but I mean, old Stallone. I mean, he's a real croaker, isn't he? I mean, it's borderline unintelligible.
He's got a speech impediment, isn't he? That's known.
Is it? So he's actually got a speech problem.
I'm assuming from the time you first see him in Rocky till then, that's 20 years, and then till today, I think I think he's sounding. Well, he's always going to sound like Sly. He's got that tone of voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think went back and watched Rocky. It's a hell of a lot worse, I think. He's only got one sort of tone of voice, isn't he? And with this, he's trying to make himself sound as sort of like grunting and as menacing as possible. It's really serious. He's not even trying to just have a general conversation. Everything he comes out with is like a line or a quip. He never engages in any form of conversation other than like, I'm the law. He's never just speaking normally. He's always trying to think of something funny to say or something that makes him sound like really hard or cool.
Well, he just talks about the law all the time, doesn't he? Like he's just obsessed with the law.
Court adjourned. God, you just said that 2 minutes ago, Sly.
And this whole bit as well, when old Raiden gets killed, he goes like, 20 years resisting arrest. And the guy's like, oh yeah, you know, what's that? Life? And he like pulls out a gun and Stallone shoots him. Death.
That's pretty much what it is. It's that, but it sounds like he's kind of got like a frog in his mouth as well.
Yeah.
It's saying the word, but then just continuing it.
I imagine in that sound cleanup.
Oh. Sly, we've moved on. The scene's over.
I imagine in that sound cleanup for the finished product, they had to probably cut out a lot of background noise because even when Stallone wasn't speaking, I think he was probably just constantly going, you know. I mean, I don't think he can actually be quiet. I think he's always like croaking.
Yeah, it sounds like he's constantly hungry.
Yeah.
It's someone's tummy rumbling. Oh, it's a dog suit. Oh. God, sorry, no, it's just Sly. It's just he's off again.
He's making noises again.
He's in character, 24/7.
Haven't you ever heard of extenuating circumstances? I've heard it all. Oh man, you know, please. So yeah, I mean, so that's the setup. What happens then? Do you then go back to you go to the prison planet in Aspen?
We meet what's his face, Max Van Sydow. What's his name? Chief Fargo.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Yeah.
Right, so
Fargo.
he's there. So yeah, they have a relationship, don't they? And then Sly takes off.
Who's having a relationship?
Well, they've got it's like a father and
a
son
committee
type thing, isn't it? Between Sly and Max.
Is that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're
okay.
quite, you know, oh you were my best student, all this shit, and then he asked him to help out with the rookies down at the whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So he takes his helmet off. That's quite a big difference from the comics, you see, because the judge never takes his helmet off in the comics, apparently. Only once, I think, and that was it. It's like Jingle All the Way and Turbo Man. Yeah, of course, we have to see Sly's face. He would have insisted on it. And, you know, the producers and everyone else would have gone like, well, we need, you know, Stallone for Christ, we need to see his face. But, you know, it's Stallone.
Who else is that going to be?
It's the same, you know, Arnie could have walked around the whole of Jingle All the Way with the Turbo Man gear on. You wouldn't have gone like, oh, I just can't, I can't place that voice. I recognise it, but I just don't know who that is.
Who's that? Oh, that could be anyone.
And it's the same with Sly, isn't it? That croaking, you're like, right, I'm pretty sure that only comes from one man. But you take the helmet off just in case, just so we can confirm.
Yeah. Hello, it's me.
Oh, Sly, yeah. I thought it was you.
So it's established, yeah, that the old, hang on, Sly
Stallone.
Sly Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone. He's known as Sly.
Is he?
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
No?
I had no idea what you're talking about. I thought that was the name of the character and I just missed it or something. I thought it was like Sly Dredd.
Or Judge Dredd, a.k.a. Sly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, fair enough, right, Sly, yeah.
We always refer to the actors' names, but...
Yeah, we keep them in character.
Let's keep the characters for this one, if we can.
So he, I think, is... We go into the Aspen jail. Let's just, you know, we'll explain it briefly. We're introduced to Rico, who's basically got his own little protective bubble. He's obviously like, you know, max security around this guy. And he somehow manages to escape. He pulls some, like, gee-whiz maneuver. You know, he's doing a bit of monkey bars, then he's jumping around, and he basically escapes the this complex. But back at you know, Judge HQ, Stallone is given... He's given like a term of training rookies, isn't he, at the academy?
We see him shooting and do all sorts, and he goes like, oh, buddy, you get this after you graduate. It's like, well, okay, well, that sort of makes sense, because I'm guessing the old rookie who just got shot didn't have any body armour on then. So what was he doing then? Why is he out on the field then? What's he doing? Work experience? What's going on? Why is he not wearing any body armour?
But he's teaching these rookies, and he's giving a bit of spiel, isn't he? He's sort of saying it allows them to shed a bit of light on, you know, what is going on with this guy. And it's obviously just clear that he's just absolutely like, he lives his life by the code of the law. You know, that's his whole setup. And he's like, you know, this job, it's about taking the law to the lawless and judging on the streets. So he's, you know, doing his spiel, whatever he's coming out with.
Well, it's very powerful.
It is powerful, if you can hear it, of course. I mean, half the rookies are sort of going, well, like, I can't understand what this guy's just croaking.
Oh, yeah. It's not coherent, but it's powerful.
Because he's not... Because he's also not even looking at them when he's delivering this. He's busy walking down the firing range. So you've just got this guy walking down the firing range going like, law to lawless.
They're getting every like 10th word. I think it's something about law and something about court adjourned, I think he came out with. I don't know what that means.
Something about the courts and law to the lawless, I think. But I don't know. The rookies are busy trying to understand a wandering Stallone. And so he's doing that. And then what have we got next? I think we just get this bit, don't we, where some high court guy, some high court judge is killed along with his wife.
Oh, no, so the reporter, yeah.
Oh, the reporter.
Rico has been released or has been aided in his escape by someone. The reporter who gets shot, he's not saying nice stuff about Judge Dredd. So then it would obviously, of course, make sense that Judge Dredd gets a bit antsy and shoots him.
He's giving him bad press, basically.
Before this, you see Rico's escaped. He picks up his judge suit, which he's going to use to then frame Sly.
We don't know though. This is the point, isn't it? Though, because whenever before this point, we think this is just like some high security prisoner, but actually he's obviously an ex-judge because he goes to some armory and picks up like this box of tricks that he's had delivered, and he's able to use one of the guns that's, I think, is, the whole point is only like a judge registered in the system is able to use the judge weaponry, you see, and use the rapid fire and the armor piercing.
The guy can't believe it.
So he's an ex-judge, clearly. So that's all we know. Shoots this journalist, and then, well, it's made to look like it's that Dredd's done it, basically.
He's borrowed the badge, hasn't he, as well? It's not quite as prominent, I don't think, but he's got the big Dredd badge on.
He's got the shiny gold badge.
Who else is wearing a badge that big? It's got to be Judge Dredd.
So he's busy. So Dredd is then held up in front of the High Court, and I think old Fargo's, he's on the committee, he's on the panel, making the ruling. And he's like, well, clearly, like he's been set up here, but all the evidence is pointing, it's all been set up. Someone's tampered with the. Oh no, the whole thing is that the bullets from these judge guns have like a DNA, have traces of the judge's DNA who's fired them, so they're able to verify the DNA from the bullet that killed the journalist, and it matches Dredd's. Well, it's curtains, I mean, old Stallone doesn't know what to say. He's left just standing in the middle of the hall, just going, oh shit.
He just starts screaming about he's the law.
I am the law.
Yeah.
Right, he's the law.
I never broke the law. I am the law. Oh.
Well, it's sounding increasingly like a megalomaniac. I think he loses his argument a bit with that whole I am the law stuff, because, I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? That he's basically gone a bit nuts with the whole power thing. Tell me this. So he's sentenced off to Aspen jail, right? And Fargo consults with the German about, I just don't know what to say about this. What an absolute shitfest. I'm due to retire. What happens here? And what is the significance of this long walk? I didn't understand the long walk. What's gone on?
Well, I think every retiring Chief Justice or whatever has to then go off and spend his retirement walking the desert, it seems.
Is that what's going on? What is this?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's just part of their rules that in retirement, you just get sent out into the wasteland I think it's to bring law to the lawless, you see. So, potentially you've got like an 80-year-old man just getting dumped out into the desert to bring law to those cannibals. How's that going to go?
Well, yeah. Well, how's he even going to get there?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to die en route.
He's just going to grab his fucking walking stick and just limp out into the desert and be eaten by cannibals. Pretty sharpish. But yeah, that's that's their tradition. That's what they believe in. So basically, he retires early to go off on his long walk. But then the German says, "Oh, if you do this, we can maybe spare Stallone's life, and give him more of a lenient sentence."
So the German is basically trying to usher this guy out of the picture. He wants him out.
Yeah, our suspicions are growing that old Chief Griffin cannot be trusted. You don't quite know that he's involved with Rico yet, but you're like, hang on, like this guy seems to want to get rid of old Max pretty swift here. And
as well, if we mentioned the kind of the motivation of this German seems to be that he wants to enhance the powers of the judges to be able just to like execute people. Is that right?
I think so, yeah. I think he's basically saying that they're being too lenient on all these unruly people in the streets. They're just arresting them and they haven't got enough judges to cover the streets efficiently and yeah, they need to be harsher.
Yeah, so that's kind of his whole thing, isn't it? Like he just wants to basically be able to be more brutal. That's kind of what he wants to do. right? So he goes. So the you know old Fargo goes on his long walk. You know, he hasn't got any water. He's just got a shotgun. Don't think he's even got that many bullets for it. So he's just sent to his death.
He's all right.
Unfortunately, Stallone is then on this flight to the Aspen penile system, whatever it's called. Is it penile? What's it called?
He's off to prison. Life in prison. We're not going to see Dredd again. That's it. He's done.
Yeah. And he, unfortunately, is sat next to old Schneider.
What are the chances?
So you have to get more of this. And I guess this is where, you know, we get the whole double act thing being established, don't we?
Yeah, the whole buddy cop thing is about to hit full effect.
And Schneider's next to him, and he's going like, "Oh, you know, well, I don't know. I mean, it's just not memorable, is it? What's he even saying?"
No, he's basically going like, you know, nah. We're both in here for crimes we didn't commit. Oh, look how that's turned out.
The law doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, oh yeah, Sly's still sticking up for the law, and then Schneider's like, well, sorry, you've just said that you've been done for a crime you didn't commit, so, you know, which one is it?
Shit, I don't know.
Take that, you don't fucking know then. You haven't got a clue.
So, and then he just cut to this like cave, you know, en route to this prison place in the desert, and it gets blown out the sky by I think that's Ewan Bremner, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So Ewan Bremner blows this this prison shuttle out the sky with a bazooka. Yeah, why? Why do they do that?
The Angel family, aren't they? Yeah, want some fresh meat, don't they? Something's got to happen en route to the prison. Why not bring the cannibals into play? And then, you know, Max is walking through the desert somewhere, probably completely lost, doesn't know where he's going, so he's got to pop up somehow. Yeah. All right.
So then I think the cannibals then retrieve old... Oh, no, that's right. So old Stallone and Schneider, for some reason, are the only two from the ship to be, from the crash site, to be captured by the cannibals. So mercifully, Schneider's lived, and as has Stallone. They're basically the only two survivors, which is convenient. And, yeah, you just get this bit with the cannibals, which... how do you think this goes?
What do you say about the cannibals? You've got what's his face? What's his name? Mean. Why he's having it. He's having a real bad time, isn't he?
Is he basically Frankenstein, the Leatherface?
He's the guy. He's missing an arm, isn't he? I don't know the state of his legs. Are his legs okay? Don't know.
Probably not.
Well, to be fair, Sly comes up with quite a funny thing. Does that come with a fork, handsome? That's quite. That's just, you know, if Stallone's requested and adding that line into the script, then yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, that was delivered pretty well. I was on board with that. You know, he delivered that, you know, nicely. That's about right, to be fair, isn't it? If you've got old Mean walking around, I think you just got to turn that switch off, haven't you? He turns the switch on his head a couple of times to kind of go, right, now he's going to get extra mean. Turn it up a notch. You know, where's the off button? How do I turn this freak off?
He's just got this like really like wank gauge on his head, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got like an egg timer on his head.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty gross actually. And you just get like the usual, you know, fresh meat, you know, chat about fresh meat.
Gonna kill him, Pa. I'm gonna kill him, Pa. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite, again, kind of quite pantomime-esque. And Ewan Bremner's got this like hair lip, you know, his lip's literally, you know, halfway up his fucking face. And yeah, then you know, you get sort of an inevitable showdown between oh no, of course. Fargo comes in. He finds his way into this place.
Because Rob Schneider gets off and he's like, oh, well, you know, unlucky Dredd.
You don't know what you're doing. What are you doing? You make a mistake.
Oh, cannibals. Sorry, what? Cannibals. Oh.
They're not just ugly fucking people. These are cannibals. Oh no. You know, and you just get, you know, old Schneider's hopping around. And then, yeah, there's this fight, isn't there? This fight happens, which isn't, I mean, it's just not interesting at all. And then old Fargo comes in.
Yeah. Well, he's made his way. He's okay. Shotgun seen him through the desert in one piece. Well, it's nice, isn't it? It's touching, yeah. You know, Stallone's, everyone's okay. The cannibals have been, well, you think the cannibals have all been dealt with. You think Mean's been turned off. Great. Now what? Now what's the plan? And, oh yeah, well, Max gets done by Mean, doesn't he?
And then I think, I can't actually remember how, what does Stallone do? What's his finishing move?
Well, they just start having a fight, don't they? And Mean's just like, you killed my brother and you killed my bar. Come on, let's go. Come on. Oh.
I think Stallone like fucks with his egg timer.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. Well, no, he does initially because he goes, "Shut up," And he turns him off. And you're like, oh, is that mean? Is he been turned off? And then he gets back up and obviously kills old Max. And then I think he gets his wobbly knife stuck in a bit of wood, doesn't he? And then Sly starts coming out with another quip about, oh, like he's got like an illegal bit of kit on or something.
Yeah,
and that's 5 years or what? That's just something shit about some law about electronics or
well, even Schneider's struggling to get them out. I mean, even Schneider's like, do you know what? This isn't worth. This just isn't going to land. You know, like his gags are tailing off like midway through. It's just absolutely awful.
And then he just roasts him, and that's it. Yeah, mean's been cooked. That's the angel found me dispatched.
I think that's pretty much it.
Well, we find out, don't we? So with Fargo's dying words, he tells Stallone that he is in fact a clone. So his whole life he's been lied to, and you know, he's Fargo. He's like, you know, you've been like a son to me, Dredd. You know, Joseph, and yeah, we get the big revelation that him and Rico are twins, clone twins.
The clone twins, and this picture that old Stallone's been hanging on to for his whole lifetime. It's basically just this picture of the baby Stallone, like photoshopped onto like a tabletop with two, like his mum and dad next to him. But actually, like some gee whiz IT bloke back at HQ finds out that the only like genuine bit of that picture is the baby, and everything else in it is just being photoshopped in. And I think whenever he clears away like the pixels, it's just like a baby just sitting on like a court table, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just sitting on like a metal table. Yeah, it's about right. I'm sort of putting more on board of it now that I know that Stallone is a cloned baby who has just been made to do what he's doing, be a judge.
I think that kind of explains why he's just got absolutely no chat beside, one liner about the laws.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why he's sort of been born with this, this need to just come out of all these quips. Yeah, I don't know. He has to be the most boringest person ever while also coming out of these absolutely wank quips every 5 minutes.
So that's kind of the big revelation. Should we also just mention as well, I think it kind of comes to a head what's going on between old Rico and Judge Griffin, the German.
Well, hang on. I should ask you, Tom. Do you want fear?
Is that what he says?
Do you want it? Because I'm the fear. Now, let me ask you this. Do you want chaos?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah, for the purpose of this, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? Well, I'm the chaos. Well, I'm the chaos if you want it. And then he gets a bit carried away right at the end. He just goes, you want a new beginning? I'm the beginning! Oh!
Yeah. Doesn't even let the German respond.
No. He knocks him like something on the floor and then just screams, I am the beginning. I'm the beginning! It's powerful stuff.
Well, I feel sorry for Griffin. I didn't realise he was put through. I forgot that he was put through that awkwardness. Because, I mean, at this stage, I think it's just him and Rico in a room. So, I mean, he's got no one else to kind of, like, bounce off. So he's just having to, like, go along with this crap. You want chaos? Yeah, maybe. You want fear? Yeah.
Not me personally, no. I don't want any chaos, no. We want to keep this, we want to keep this in line if we can.
We want to keep to the plan.
I prefer to go without some fear if I can.
Yeah.
Oh, the beginning! Beginning of what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's horrible. But it's revealed, isn't it, that basically the German wants... hang on, what's the German's plan? Why is the German sided with Rico? What does he want? He's trying to encourage everyone to riot more. He's trying to encourage civilians to become more unruly, to justify his case, to give the judges more power.
I think he just used Rico mainly to frame Judge Dredd.
Okay.
I think Griffin will go ahead with this whole clone stuff, with or without Rico, because he wants this Project Janus.
Janus, yeah.
To be reopened, so he can start popping out all these clones. That's why they start knocking off all the judges. They start going into all these booby traps when they get blown up, and then one of them's got, Hammerstein's there, hiding in some fucking rubbish. Like, God, what's this? Oh, God. It's Hammerstein. Aye. He just wants this Project Janus stuff to get back off the ground, and Rico was just there to frame Judge Dredd because they've got the same DNA.
But what old Rico wants to do, which is even too much for the German, is he wants to use his own DNA to create these clones. Is that right?
Yeah, he puts his DNA into the machine, doesn't he?
And the German's like, well, this guy's nuts. We're just going to have an army of judges walking around talking about, I am the fear.
Yeah, screaming, I am the beginning.
Yeah, this won't do.
That's not going to work.
So this is the point at which I think I think the German gets picked up by the robot and has his arms torn off.
Yeah, what's that? Again, if that's, an 18.
a pivotal moment. It's a pivotal moment as well. It's like going into the final act.
Yeah, you know, tearing his arms and his legs off, and all you get is just some fucking cranberry juice hitting the floor.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah,
What do we
going
do?
onto the robot's shoes.
You know, we had to sacrifice that just so we could hear Sly come out of one of his wank lines. I've just said about the fork thing. Yeah, that was all right. But I'd have rather seen Griffin's arm and legs being torn off, to be honest. I'd have taken the hit on the fork gag to see some arms and legs getting thrown around the room.
But I imagine it's one of these, isn't it, where they'll have filmed the whole thing. They'll have done a full-blown close-up. They'll have done the whole thing in view. And then, again, it's that whole, it's those final decisions that just seem to be completely out of the hands of, like, the people who've made it.
I think, again, the director, I think he was barred from coming in to the reshoots. So post-production, they did some reshoots, and they barred him from coming in to do them, or even looking at them.
It's quite interesting that, because as far as I can see, this director didn't go on to do any more like feature films. I think he did most of his, his follow-up stuff was TV, wasn't it?
Oh, well, hang on. He did a couple. He did a couple of stinkers.
Did he?
So he went on to do I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. What about that?
Oh, God, yeah.
And
is that the one where they go to Barbados?
Oh, yeah. And one that you should be quite familiar with, because it was filmed in and around your neck of the woods. He did Goal, the football one.
Goal?
Yeah. Have you seen that? Oh, Santiago?
No.
No?
No, I know
God.
what it is. I've heard of it, yeah.
He goes to play for the mighty Newcastle United.
Is it goal? Is it goal? But it's not goal, is it? It's goal with an exclamation mark.
Oh, it's goal! Yeah, it's like goal if Rico was saying it.
I mean, if you've got an exclamation mark in your title, you've got a problem.
Which is, mate, great.
But actually, but all these, I'm assuming, are both, hang on, what was the first one?
I Know What He Did Last Summer.
To be fair, like, they're not these big studio films. I mean, they're smaller.
Oh, yeah. Well, he said he wasn't going to work with any sort of big hitters again. After the experience he had with the film and in particular Sylvester Stallone, he was like, no, fuck this. I'm not working with like a big actor again, because judging by Sly's input, it was gross.
Performance. He's a Brit though, isn't he? I think this bloke.
I think so, yeah. I think he's done mainly TV the last sort of 20 years. I think he's done like a lot of TV pilots.
Yeah, no, he has. I could see he'd done a lot of TV stuff.
He did the pilot for the TV series Nikita.
Oh yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
A bit of Nikita, yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen Nikita?
No, I haven't. No.
No.
I haven't seen
Deliberately.
Nikita.
I'm assuming you've just been avoiding that one.
I'd probably avoid it anyway for for different reasons.
Personal reasons.
Probably stay clear of anything.
Just brings up bad memories.
Yeah, anything called Nikita, I'm scarpering.
Yeah, the sweet and sour eating Nikita. Darts playing Nikita.
Yeah. The leather sporting darts playing Nikita, yeah. Not for me.
But yeah, so there's a bit of that, and then what have we got left?
The old arms and legs being torn off is sort of towards the end, isn't it? It's like the last act. So Schneider and Stallone, they come back and they go through that fucking tunnel, don't they?
Yeah, Schneider starts screaming at this stage as well. This is when Schneider's screaming comes into effect. He's running down this like fire tunnel to get into the city. So they're going through like one of the waste disposal pathways or whatever. And I think Schneider falls over and needs help, needs Stallone to pick him up. And yeah, he just starts screaming, which is pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, we get some more quips, I think, before they go in. It's just Schneider asking for an apology and stuff. And like, Stallone's like, I've never apologized to anyone, ever. Okay. Right, let's just get through the tunnel. Hurry up. Get back in. And then we get they break in, don't they? And then Griffin shoots everyone. Because they're like, oh, we can't do this. Project Janus, we've got to abandon it. We're playing with God. No. Turn it off.
Yeah, I think he shoots himself in the arm and goes like, oh, it was Stallone.
And then we get the green screen stuff on the bike.
Hang on, so they're fleeing from the HQ. And they get on one of those levitating motorcycles.
Yeah, what are they called again? I can't remember what they're called.
I don't fucking know.
Oh, the Lawmaster.
The Lawmaster. Yeah, the hovercraft. And it's a shame, isn't it? I mean, it's let down at this point because up to now, like we've said, it's extremely well done actually. But I'm assuming at this stage they were just trying to get, they knew they had to have like some kind of chase scene, but it just looks like an afterthought, doesn't it?
Well, they just pushed their luck, didn't they? They just pushed their luck. The city looks pretty good, as we said, but they had to push it and get Schneider and Stallone on a wobbly bike, wobbly little big moped floating around the sky.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it doesn't look too good now, unfortunately. No. Yeah, the city, you know, when you get like wide shots of the city, again, it's like, yeah, it looks okay. But then you get a lot of Stallone and Schneider, so then they obviously the background it has to be green screen, so it just looks like shit.
Yeah, it's a nasty bit. It's a shame that whole scene, and I don't think it comes to anything, does it? I think they just escape the people in pursuit, and then what? They're back at HQ.
What did they do? Oh no! Well, we haven't mentioned it. They go and pick up old Diane Lane, didn't they? Old Hershey. They go to her apartment and she's been like ransacked. You're like, oh no, is she okay?
I think Schneider goes like, oh, we're not going to get our deposit back. It's like, right,
nice.
Okay.
And then, yeah, they basically just pick her up and go, you know, where are they? And they somehow work out that Rico and Co are holed up in the Statue of Liberty's head.
Yeah.
And,
and?
Okay.
Yeah, mate, that sounds good. What are you looking like that for?
Well, that's fine.
You're looking questioningly at that.
Yeah, that's where I'd go, yeah. Statue of Liberty's head, let's go. They get there, old Hammerstein's there, shoots old Schneider. Oh, is that the end of Schneider? Let's hope. No, he's still going.
He's still alive.
And then, yeah, then we get the quite poetic. Oh, actually, I should say about the doctor, about the Asian doctor who's there. I can't remember, maybe Dr. Hayden or something. I can't remember her name. It was when they first meet, like her and Rico, she's quite serious. And then to sort of show that she's become like a bit naughty and she's sort of like she's not playing by the rules anymore, like Rico, she kind of just gets some cleavage out. She's quite like straight laced, and you're like, oh, okay. She's like, well, you know, I'm here to, you know, do some serious work here, Rico. So, you know, no mucking about. And then all of a sudden, like the hair's a bit more slicked and she's just got the boobs hanging out. Oh right, God, oh, she's turned a bit naughty. Everyone, watch out. Which is, yeah, fine.
But she's just some like random employee of the judge thing, and she's just decided to pair up with the German and Rico.
She just likes a bit of Rico. You know, who wouldn't?
Well, I agree. You know, we've already talked about, you know, the gravity of the Rico. The final showdown here. I mean, what do you think? What have you got on that? I haven't got a great deal. It's pretty underwhelming.
Well, the chat's okay, isn't it? They have that bit of a chat before they start fighting about, you know, why'd you judge me and all this sort of stuff. You broke the law. Law.
Yeah, you get a lot of grunting a lot of groaning from Sylvester. You're gonna have to kill me now. And then yeah, the fighting erupts. It's
not interesting because again, there's a scene with the clones which was cut out that you see Stallone like shooting like a bunch of them.
Did we even see any of that? Like, I don't think there's any of that. They just come out of the coffin.
Yeah, all you see is an arm, and you see one of the clones open their eyes, and one of them just gets up like the Undertaker. You're like, oh, what's going to happen? And then it's all gone. You don't see anything because whatever was filmed with Stallone like blowing their heads off is gone. It's been binned. So then it just cuts to Stallone and Rico having a fight in the head of the Statue of Liberty. And
he ends up just throwing Rico off.
Yeah, I think he runs out of bullets for the gun or something. That old gun malfunctions or something happens. something just rubbish happens. And then...
Or it's just cycling through the options again. Just going like, oh man, this piece of sewage just fucked me.
I think we get another court adjourned again because there's like, how do you plead to betraying your brother or betraying your family? How do you plead? And then he throws him off and goes, court adjourned. Right. Okay. Court adjourned. It's adjourned, everyone. He's adjourned it.
He's hanging off that head. And as well, he then uses old, what's the woman called? What's she called?
Hershey.
Well, he uses her to try and hoist him back up to ground level.
Oh, yeah. Or she just picks him up with like one arm, yeah.
I mean, surely she'd be getting flipped off that head.
Yeah.
If you try and pull old Sylvester up, I mean, she's going flying.
He's still pretty muscle-bound, Stallone. He's in good nick.
Yeah. Well, he's huge. I mean, what must that guy weigh?
He just spends that scene when Rico's chatting to him, just basically just holding his arms out and just flexing. So his arms are looking humongous.
I'm assuming he's on a platform and he's just like basically just gripping that bar as tight as he can.
Well, he's just pumped up, hasn't he? He's just done like what they do, like 300. Jared Butler, like between every scene, they're just there doing like, bicep curls and press ups. They
really?
Go on and then, you can see that's all they did. Between every scene, they just went up and just pumped the blood into the muscle and then just went back on. So you're like, oh, God, look at the size of those guns. Whoa. Oh, yeah.
Well, I can hear you getting a bit hot under the collar every time someone else is mentioned. It's really quite weird. Oh, yeah, those muscles are looking absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Well, anyone with a bit of muscle, I feel threatened. I'm challenged.
Well, what do you think of those wet muscles? Those veiny, wet muscles.
To be fair to Stallone, he's in phenomenal shape, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think there was a bit of steroid abuse throughout the years, But he's he's pushing 50 in this.
Yeah, no, he looks absolutely top notch. Yeah.
If I'm looking like that when I'm 50, I'm
Happy camper.
I'd have to probably pop a few steroids in the butt, but I'll be all right. I'll be happy with that.
I mean, that's kind of it, isn't it? I mean, I don't think there's anything more. I think he sort of they have a bit of a moment, him and whatever the girl's called. So, he's softened up, he's found his humanity, and then he just jets off, and he's got the golden badge back on, and he's just back, just blowing through those streets on that moped.
The shoulder pads have gone back on, the shin pads are back in place.
The moon boots are back on.
Moon boots, yeah, the 5 inches are there. Yeah.
The boom box is ready, yeah.
They asked him to be the new Chief Justice, don't they? And he's just like, no, I'm a street judge. Yeah. Oh, God, what does he say? So what are you going to do now? Go to work. I'm very late.
And then just blows off.
Again, they sort of push it a bit because the last shot is then, him parked up looking at the city. It doesn't look as good as when we've seen it, at the start. It just it looks a bit. I don't know why it looks worse.
I think that looks like a comic book shot, because the whole thing is like he's the guardian angel of that city, and that last shot just looks like it's been almost lifted directly out of the comic book. I mean, I don't know, because I don't read fucking comic books, but
maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. Yeah, maybe I've still got the chase on the bike in the green screen. I still got that taste in my mouth. That's Judge Dredd.
That's Dredd, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's whatever you want. Go and watch the 2011 one. It's better.
Yeah.
That's all I'd say about this.
The thing is with that one, the more recent one, it's just got a bit more stuff what you want to see. It's just got a bit more gore. The action's probably a bit more is better, and it's close to the source material, isn't it? Which people have said. So for a definitive Dredd film, if you want to sort of get a more of a flavour of what the comic books are like and what the characters are like overall, then yeah. If you want to go and watch people just shouting at each other, and then Sly just repeating the same lines over and over again, him and Schneider just throwing quips at one another. If you're into that sort of stuff, then maybe the 95 Dredd is for you. It's just quite camp, isn't it? Watching Dredd, watching Sly walk around in that get-up is just quite campy. But no, yeah, it's got its merits. When I watched it, I was quite deflated. I was like, oh God, I didn't expect much, but I was like, oh God, yeah, that's not very good actually, is it? That's a shame. But I think after talking about it, you can safely say that it's fun. It's like, it's Jingle All the Way, isn't it? It's junk. It's junk, but it's fun enough. A decent enough watch. I wasn't offended by it, and plenty of stuff to sort of break down and go, sorry, like, well, what's he doing?
I think that's probably a decent summary, yeah. Yeah, okay, right, well, until next time. Thank you.
I'm the law. You'll find me on social media, just trying to post sort of witty and humorous things. So all that and more can be found over at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at FilmFloggers.